96,000, I think, at this point.
Okay, so my numbers would be a little bit off, but you're also losing $60,000 in revenue because you're not able to collect the building, am I correct?
Not yet,
Not yet.
correct.
How much money are we burning from Litchfield?
We haven't yet, that's what I'm saying.
Yet.
Correct.
In 9 months.
So there's a possibility.
There has been no
that-
turnover yet in the building revenue, no.
Is there going to be?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Well, anyway,
It kind of skews the numbers here, I would guess. So.
it does, but if you haven't gotten any money, then maybe it doesn't. So that would estimate about $85,000 additional that Morris is paying if you're not getting any revenue
It
back.
was down on a 5-year average, down around 60,000.
Right, 60,000 plus the 25,000 additional over the contract from last year, that's 85,000.
Over which contract? The Vintech contract, it only went up
Yes.
6,000. Not 25.
Do you have more hours a day for your engineers?
No. There's a line item in your budget of $215,000
Correct.
for
There-
EMS coverage.
There's supplies involved in that too?
Okay,
Yeah, training.
okay. So if the ambulance were to come back to Morris and pay staffing, I've done 3 different calculations here, the original, 2 EMTs for 12 hours a day, 2 EMTs for 18 hours a day, which would leave the 6-hour overnight shift needing to be covered. And 2 EMTs for 12 hours a day plus an EMT for the additional 6 hour, for an additional 6 hours, which would leave coverage for 1 EMR and 1 EMT for the overnight shift. So if we look at the 2 EMTs for 18 hours a day, it's approximately $285,000 a year, which is about what, if you don't get any revenue back, what you're paying now.
Okay. How do we propose to do
It
this
would
then?
have your, I mean, it would have to propose to the fire department. They would have to agree to do the coverage, I would think, for the overnight shift, the.
But really, the
midnight to
proposal would be
6 a.m.
between the fire department and the current PSA holder, I believe, correct? If they want to regain the PSA?
Well, they would have to apply for it, yeah.
Right.
And-
They had the opportunity to apply for it, and they did not.
And actually, Nicole has to send in a letter saying that she would release it, and she never did.
Yeah, you sent a certified letter to the PO box. Actually, you sent it to the address, not the PO box. She didn't receive it for quite a long time.
And
You
we
never
still-
followed up with any
And we
phone
never
call
received it, and
or
she never
email
sent
or
back.
meeting with chief.
And she never sent back saying, yes, she would release it. It was
She
very
was
clear in
kind of
his email.
expecting a conversation instead of just a certified letter.
Let's back up from your projections here. Right, we had talked last week about, or not last week, excuse me, at our last meeting about EMS service,
Mhm.
right? And Chief had said that he wasn't comfortable taking back EMS service because he wasn't sure he had the bodies to do it. And he
Correct.
didn't want to stress his current bodies.
Correct. By doing this plan, though, the 2 EMTs for 18 hours a day, as opposed to 2 EMTs for 12 hours a day, the coverage period where you need the volunteers is much less, 6 hours a day. So they can go to dinner, they can do things in the evening. Instead of having to be home by 6 PM to cover your shift, you now have to be home by midnight to cover that shift. And obviously, what goes along with this down at the bottom would mean an aggressive recruitment campaign, a trial period, I would suggest. Extending the trial basis to January 1st of 2019, to hopefully gain enough people in a EMT or an EMR class to boost those ranks so that you can hopefully drop back from that staffing level.
Why don't we have an ambulance in Morris?
I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
you're the chief.
No, you go ahead. Give
From
me-
my understanding is there was a lapse in the contract expired for the revenue recovery, and there was a question whether or not who was gonna pay for the staffing.
So who's responsible for that?
Whoever holds the PSA is required to provide 24/7 coverage.
Honorable, why would you want to lose that?
You know, that would be a remarkably good question to ask Selectman Tom White, when he said, take the $60,000 out of their budget, put it contingency, make the fire department sweat.
When did Tom White say that?
Tom White said that at one of the public meetings with the Board of Finance.
Absolutely not, Joel.
Absolutely correct, Tommy. You
Absolutely not.
you can change your mind if you want, but that's why that $60,000 disappeared.
This is where we are.
And the Board of Finance put in there, and I asked you, you understand, when you give up the PSA, you're losing the ambulance. And you said, that's your choice.
Joel, you're absolutely false.
I'm just telling you, Tommy, that's what your exact words were.
Okay,
So the reason why there's no ambulance is the town of Morris forced a nonprofit, that's the fire department, to be responsible for more time than they could be responsible for. They cut $60,000 from the paid daytime coverage that was needed to provide daytime coverage. Volunteers were still doing the night.
So now you've got to go through this whole process of regaining this PSA.
Correct.
Not actually regaining it, it's called, you have to apply for it.
Right. So
Yep.
It's a shame, correct?
Totally, absolutely.
Yes.
Not totally unnecessary.
Mhm.
Now, I wasn't here the first meeting, but obviously, like Bob, I'm sitting here saying, we're not going to. We've got personalities here, and these personalities do not like each other. So we've got to somehow put our differences aside here and come up to some kind of an agreement. Otherwise, everyone's going to lose and lose big. It's that simple. So, why not cooperate? It's a lot easier, it's a lot simpler, a lot less painful. Let's just cooperate
You
with
understand,
each other.
it worked fine up till last year, and then someone came in and changed a lot of things. Changed the PO system, felt they had to involve themselves with the PSA, because we were still arguing over the money. And then the Board of Finance took that $60,000 out, and that was the big hammer. You're doing away with it, okay. So now that's a big thing taken away from us.
So you're angry.
You bet.
You're
And
very, very angry.
And now you want us to take it back. Now we have to go back and we have to increase more work. We asked Tommy White, why would we do 70% more work, Tommy? Did you have an answer?
For what?
Why would we do 70% more work right now?
For what?
Never mind. See, this is the problem. See, he
No,
couldn't
for-
answer the question
for
that day,
providing what,
and he
Joel?
can't answer it now.
Ask the full question, please.
Why would I want to take the PSA back, Tommy, and do
You
70% more work?
You said at a meeting that you'd rather sleep at night.
And I asked you, why would I take more work to get the PSA back? And as the leader of the town, you should encourage me to do that. Do you have an answer for that?
Because I think it'd be best for the town.
You couldn't answer the question then.
Okay, what really concerns me as a citizen of Morris, is this fire department viable? I mean, can you guys actually attend a structural fire at any given time of day?
Depends what kind of day it is. Now, keep in mind, it's an accurate answer. Keep in mind, we do automatic mutual aid during the day with Bethlehem and Bannon, depending on where the fire is. It's the same as every other fire department around, they do automatic.
That's the norm.
It's the norm. It's automatic mutual aid, because nobody has enough people. If you look at Larry, I'll throw Larry under the bus for a moment, they had a fire down in Oakville. He's got 94 firemen and a complete fire department, and he called mutual aid from Middlebury right away. That was prudent thinking, because it was during the day and you don't know what you're gonna get. So, in answer to your question, we're always short of people. Right now, we are exceptionally short of people.
Okay, so you're talking Morris specifically.
More specifically, correct. But mutual aid, automatically, everybody does. Litchfield does it with Bantam. If you go north of here, when they do a tone, there's 4 departments that get toned out.
But, so then you're constantly receiving aid,
Correct.
but you're not in a position to assist.
No, that's not correct. We get toned out automatically with Bethlehem because they want our tanker. They have 3 pumpers. It's the size of the truck. It's under 1,000 gallons. They do automatic mutual aid for our tanker. So our tanker goes down there consistently for mutual aid. So it's one of those things where, and it's something that the fire chiefs work out, the town elected officials have nothing to do
So
with it.
you're setting a tanker, so what you need is a driver,
Well,
basically.
usually
You
two
send
people.
2 people, you send a tanker out there.
Correct.
But you're not sending anybody who can
Well, you only
actually
have,
fight a fire.
you only have 2 people that are seated in the tanker, and usually the person who's qualified to operate the truck is a certified fireman, but you need to have one person stay with the truck.
So I think I can talk for everybody out here. I think as citizens of Morris, we want to be assured that we have a viable fire department. That if I go to bed tonight and there's some smoke coming out of a room in my house at midnight, that I've got some chance of saving the house. Can I count on that at this point?
I would say yes, because when you dial 911, it goes to LCD, and they automatically dispatch. There's a list, they run through their CAD, and they automatically dispatch all these fire trucks. It's not just Morris getting toned out. There's a whole complement of people that are dispatched.
Then I can count on Morris as being part of that.
Correct.
Dispatch.
Now, we need people, but looking at this group here, you want to ask them if they're interested in becoming involved in this, with this particular project going on? This has been a year and a half.
I've heard both sides though, Joe, I really have. I've heard that, yeah, the first living can be difficult at times, but I've also heard that your big problem and a big reason why a lot of these people have left the fire department. I don't know how much truth there is in that, but I know your size has diminished considerably in the past year and a half or two, certainly since all of this controversy started. So I think it would behoove you and us to work out a plan, stop fighting each other, just 10 easy questions, answer the questions, and let's move forward. Because that's what's gonna take to move forward, from what I can see. I looked at these and said, wow, I'd like to know answers to these questions. I really would. I didn't think it'd be very difficult for you to answer, for sure. Now we start. Now there's a little trust being built up here. You're dealing with 3 new bodies. And we're really interested in seeing what's best for Morris, number one, and secondly, what's best for you guys.
Well,
I mean,
you
you've
understand,
got my highest respect. I know what it is to volunteer. And the volunteering on your level is something else completely. I mean, I can't tell you how many times at 10:30 at night I hear that thing go off, that horn go off, and my thoughts are, oh boy, there's Ed Dorset jumping out of bed, Joel's getting out, a whole bunch of people. I'm still in bed, you know? So there's a tremendous amount of respect. And I really think with these 3 guys, if you can't get along with Tom, that's one thing. But I think with us, we can recoup, return to where it was like. It was good, it was really good at one time. And I'd like to see that again, I really would.
well, if you like, Albert's here, he's our captain. If you want to stop over, he can pull that computer out and show you everything on every one of those trucks. But to make paperwork and come over here and make an extra job and make more time, in my view, is unnecessary. And that's probably part of the reason why it hasn't come over here so quickly. Because if you want to see it, it's all of us people with property. If you want to see something, come over and see us. We're there every Thursday. Nobody ever stops.
Well, that's true, listen, I sit on a P&Z board, we sit here, first Wednesday of every month, and nobody's out there.
Nobody comes.
You know, and we're fighting here, Bob is fighting, we're all fighting for what's best for Morris. Nobody out there, unless it's really controversial. And this is controversial. We really, we've got to put an end to this animosity. We really do. I really care, and I really want to come together here. And I know Bob cares, and we all care.
I'm in agreement with you. I mean, the 3 of us, we're outsiders looking in. We're trying to help you out. We think what's going on is not right.
Right.
And we all want to do what's right and get it back to the way it was.
And I'm
You're
ready,
absolutely right.
I'd gladly meet you there. And, you know, and get copies made or whatever that Tom might need. But if we continue this,
Could I suggest that the committee make a road trip across the street and look at these things that you're looking for and get that behind us and so that we can move on?
I would suggest it's on the computer, correct? I heard.
If it's in files or wherever it might be.
Well, I just heard, I'm sorry, I just heard it was, that's not a problem at all, but be simple, couple buttons, gets sent over, no problem. But if Joel would wanna meet me sometime to make a road trip over there, I'd be
I
happy to.
think the majority of the committee should.
I'd love to
attend
go.
Whenever
I haven't
possible.
been there since your last World Speed dinner.
Because I agree, there's definitely animosity between the chief and you, sir, and maybe the rest of us can be the flexible part in between you to, so that it's not just the two of you that have to get together, that as many as on the committee who can make a certain time can do that and
Yeah,
get all of this list behind us so that.
If you can gather that information on my behalf, that would be wonderful. Obviously, there's more things on this list that were asked of the fire department at our last meeting that could be taken care of tonight.
Can I ask another question of you, Tom? I think the committee's beat Joel up pretty good. Joel and the fire department up pretty good with demanding questions, and yeah, they haven't been answered. What's the town's plan to help the fire department? I go through your budget, I see the capital plan, and you've got a truck that looks like it needs to be replaced on the capital plan that's completely to be determined. It's out of the capital plan. You've got, there was something else in there, was it air packs? Something else that was to be determined. Is there a plan to
Yes,
assist the fire department in their duties to provide, protect the town?
the air pack situation was brought to us kind of late in the game, I think last budget year.
Okay.
Didn't really have exact numbers and exactly when they need to be replaced. So the Board of Finance put it into the budget to replace those. But we need better numbers and need to know when they need to be replaced too.
Okay.
As far as the engine goes, I do believe we're gonna need a new fire truck fairly soon. We wanna get the right fire truck also. We asked for information on the various vehicles, haven't gotten it at all. Our equipment committee meetings, we have an equipment committee that reviews all these large purchases of, say, the public works or the fire department, vehicles and equipment.
Excuse me, not to interrupt, but didn't the fire chief have a truck all spec'd out and ready based on the needs of the department?
Based on what he thought they needed, yes.
Based on the needs of the
Right.
department?
And that's when the equipment committee kind of looked at it and said, perhaps this truck that we have could be refurbed. It's a possibility, and we're gonna try
How
to.
old is the truck?
31 years.
31 years?
Yep. And we've talked to a
Can be
number,
refurbed.
actually, they can. We've talked to a number of people, but we're looking into that too. And yeah, I do believe it's time for a new fire truck. In fact, the offer I made to the fire department was to take, back when they had the PSA, was to take all the revenue recovery monies every year, put it into a special fund that could not be touched for anything else other than vehicles and equipment for the fire department. Obviously, it would take quite a long time to build up enough money to buy a new fire truck, since they're, what, $600,000? Of course, the town would have to add to that pot, but that would have been a start, and that fell by the wayside.
I got a question. Tom, you talked about an equipment committee, so who would be on this equipment committee?
Who is on it?
Yeah.
We have a member from the fire department, we have a former member of the fire department, and also a guy who was a mechanic at Gallons and Night,
Yep.
and also currently a mechanic in part of our road crew. We have a number of
Is this a new
former.
committee? I mean, in the past,
They've been around.
in the past, when the fire department would like to spec a truck, what would happen?
I don't believe the fire department's ever gone to the equipment committee, but the last time we bought a new fire truck was the year 2000, so it's not a.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
We have a former chief of the fire department who's on it.
I don't believe he is anymore. I don't believe he's
Well,
on the
my,
committee.
I think my question is
I think he
then,
is.
do you
I
feel
don't
as
think he
though, do you and your committee feel as though you feel like you know more about what the needs are of the fire department?
Not
than
at
the
all.
Fire department?
That's why we have a member of the fire department on the committee.
Because I sense a little bit of, I mean, at last meeting, I sort of jumped on Joe a little bit for not answering to the CFO. But I sense a little bit of micromanaging on the part of
Correct.
the first selectman
Might
and the
word
board
it
of
that way.
selectmen and maybe even the board of finance. The thing that I think you need to try to understand is, although your fire department may be small, there's a lot of smart people in that department. And they know what their needs are. And they spend a lot of time with that. And when they're there's no doubt that they can be questioned. And I believe when they're questioned, they should provide the answers, number one, and not be stubborn or feel insulted. But I also think that the person in your position needs to sort of let the people that lead the department lead the department. And if you have a personal problem with Joel, which I think you do, which I think is a shame because you guys are like third generation here in town. You know, this town and the fire department, everything was started by grandfathers or uncles or somebody. And here we're just battling here. And I think it's a shame. And,
Going back to the committee.
but let me finish, I'm sorry. But when the members are suddenly sort of micromanaged, and they've been doing this for a long time, they know what they're doing. And I think you need to try to put personal feelings aside, and you do too, Joel, to try to get this work done.
I agree. I could easily sit down and have a beer or breakfast with Joel, either one. Going back to listening to the fire department, we do. That's why I said, equipment committee, former chief, former member.
I know those people.
All those
I know
guys.
those people, and currently, I don't believe they have a lot to do with the fire department.
And, well, the thing is, all.
I respect those people too, by the way, if they're out here listening,
I get
or
it.
if they hear some other way.
But all
I know them
equipment,
very well.
all equipment purchases will go through the equipment committee.
What information you said you were asking from the equipment committee? You said you had asked for more information?
Some more records on the vehicles we're looking to replace.
You understand that, like, the Kenworth is 31 years old, and it's
We're-
ready to go down the road.
We're aware. Yeah.
A lot of the reason we're here is transparency, right?
get it.
Transparency with what's going on. And
get it.
maybe we wouldn't need that level of transparency that we're asking for, right? If there wasn't a felony investigation going on with the department. If there wasn't a deputy chief that got arrested for breaking into an ambulance, right?
That's
If that stuff
defamation.
doesn't happen,
That's defamation.
Okay.
It's itself
if
right
that
Quiet,
stuff
please.
doesn't happen, we're probably not sitting here asking for transparency. And the transparency that we're asking for, okay, is not out of the realm that should be provided to begin with. And it's not stuff that's,
I'm not defending the fact that these people are not telling you the information. I'm not defending that. I think it's wrong. And Joel knows that.
Okay, so we're the committee, and so we have to act like a committee. And I'm with you. I think I can get along with you with no problems whatsoever. You and the rest of these guys. And I really like this guy too. So I don't see a problem. We've got personalities. I don't blame him to some point for being a little angry, because all of a sudden, it's, and Tommy, listen, we can get over all this for the,
I think so.
if we really got, what's best for Morris. Simple. What's best for Morris?
The reason that I went on my little spiel here was because I'm trying to get these guys to get along just as well. And I
Absolutely.
think Tommy needs to understand, or at least try to understand some of the feelings of the members of the department and how much they do care. It's not that they don't care.
I totally understand that.
And it can sometimes make people feel like, well, I might not be doing my job very well, so here's somebody trying to look over my shoulder all the time. They shouldn't have to have that much oversight.
To me, this issue really started back when the fire department refused to sit down and have a meaningful conversation to move forward with the revenue recovery money. We had one meeting, it was in May. I tried for months and months to sit down with Kevin and Joel. You can go through my emails, I have a staff of
I read the
60.
paper, so I know.
Tommy, let
And
me
we
stop
tried.
you. You never, ever once bent from that's the town of Morris's money, and you're gonna give it all to us.
absolutely not.
That was your stance the
No.
entire time.
Joel, again.
You can say that,
Had you
Tom,
sat down and actually had a conversation, you would have
Because
found otherwise.
you never, ever
But you
changed that
refused.
stance.
Yeah, I think you two guys,
So we've got a couple of loggerheads here.
I
you
mean,
guys need to
Part of
start
the
getting
bargaining.
along before
Right.
we're gonna make any movement here.
Right, we're not gonna make any movement tonight, we really aren't. We need to have these, let's start by getting these questions answered. Let's go over there, let's all meet there. I'd love to go there, I myself, I mean, I haven't, like I said, I haven't been there in a while. And move forward from there. You know, we're not gonna sit here, we're gonna argue all night. We're gonna point fingers, that's no good, that's not gonna get us to a resolution, not at all.
I mean, Eric, you were part of the committee that we formulated these questions to be brought back to the fire department at the last meeting. You actually almost started a conversation of what we have to put down for the list. Do you disagree that we should be asking these questions now?
No. Again, though, to follow up on that, I think by starting the discussion of a service agreement, which I think has been brought to the table, I believe, will answer some of these questions. My personal opinion, the $60,000 does not belong to the town. It was revenue that was billed by the service that is legally allowed to bill for. I don't know, the contract was expired, I don't know why the town feels that they are entitled to that. With that being said, if you're paying for staffing, absolutely, that money's gotta pay for that staffing and be reimbursed to the town.
It has been for the
It
past
has
10 years. So
I know.
the contract ran out,
Yep.
and it was never renegotiated, and so.
Listen,
the
I
money
understand
sits in
that,
limbo, yeah.
correct, I
But
understand,
we can get over all that.
absolutely,
I
I
gotta-
We
believe
come
we
up with an
can.
agreement.
I got a question for the committee here. Should we consider, since the ambulance status, or it's being handled right now, just as is, should we consider tabling any idea of PSA and try to rebuild, I don't wanna use the word rebuild, but try to get the fire department to get some momentum with membership in that way. And continue to run a rescue as, you know, we talked about this last meeting, run the rescue with EMRs or EMTs for first responder. And then try to, somewhere down the road, look at the ambulance again. It seems to me that we might even be trying to do too many things at once here. And, I mean, not that firefighting is easier, but you already have an existing fire department with equipment and officers in place to just start running on the fire calls and try to do good at that. Not that you don't do already, I'm sorry.
Back anytime you want, I've known you a long time. The service level agreement that we proposed, you will have a copy of it. When we ran it by our attorney, and obviously it was written by an attorney, not by us, and he said the EMS part and the fire part are freestanding. If you don't do one, the other one's still okay to leave there. And he was very clear about that. So the wording, the way it's written right now is okay. If you kept the wording exactly the same thing and did nothing with the ambulance, you could leave that all in there. It's a freestanding thing, it doesn't.
And I think that's the next step, is agree on this service level agreement.
I think you have a copy.
And with that, I mean, you know, as I said last meeting, it's, and I agree with Larry, it seems a little redundant with record keeping and all that need. But, you know, let's provide copies. I think we should provide the copies, and it's town equipment. You're being covered by workman's comp by the town, and let's just try to provide the information that is requested, and try to boost up the fire department. and stop having these meetings. And just try to gain some momentum.
I think if we can work towards getting this information to everyone, even if it's just, for some reason you want it on paper, I guess we could get it on paper or on a computer, whatever. My thoughts were to go over there and look, and here it all is in the files. Here's everything that's required. You know, if there's an issue, I don't know why copies of it have to be made and sent elsewhere. But that's, if it has to be, it has to be. But get to that point, then work on this agreement and give some trust back to the members of the fire department that they can run their operation, and let them run their operation and be able to provide with regular reports and reviews as necessary, but let them run their operation and let their truck committee determine what it is that they need, then take that information to your equipment committee and don't hold it up, just let it go. No one knows better what fire trucks are needed and what equipment are needed on them than firemen. They're not gonna, and all of them are taxpayers, so they're not gonna do something that's extravagant where they need shiny chrome tools on it or something like that. So you need to trust them, that they know best what they need and move forward to get them the equipment that the town can afford. But if we can get this done here and then move forward with the agreement on the fire side and give some trust back to the department and their leadership to let them run it and help them with their recruitment to get more members, and then I think that's your ultimate goal for us all sitting here.
I agree. There are still roadblocks though. I think it'd be great if we have that
What's the
information.
roadblock?
I think it'd be great if we had that information that we're asking for. And
Well, that's what I just said.
Right, I know, if I can continue. Then we can move on with that. We did have the questions that were asked of the fire department. I think it'd be great if we had the answers to that, whether it's yes or no. If it's no, it's no. We know, correct? Ask the question to the body. I also think there has to be some definite behavioral changes within the fire department to move forward.
Not quite sure what you mean by that.
Okay, I'll explain.
I mean, if you're talking about the things on the wall and these other things that you're spreading around to all of us, which is only making the matters worse.
Correct. Much more than
That,
that. If I
you know,
can,
that type, I agree, that type of thing needs
if I
to
can
be corrected.
explain what I was starting to talk about. We had complaints from citizens where the fire department would go by their house on the way either to or back from a call and blast the air horns in front of their house. Sometimes this was like 2:20 in the morning, blasting the air horns. Chief Skilton's response was, let's take the chains off the air horn lever. There's no discipline there.